Hey, all you basketball fans, this is Ryan O'Hara. This obviously is not good news for the Chicago Bulls. Chicago Bulls superstar Derrick Rose is out indefinitely once again because of torn cartilage in his right knee that will require surgery. The former MVP has a medial meniscus tear, and there's no immediate timetable for his return. Rose had an MRI in Los Angeles today after he was injured a night earlier in Portland. He won't be with the team for its remaining 4 games on its 6-game trip. The 3-time All-Star sat out last season recovering from a torn anterior cruciate ligament in his left knee. Now it's his other knee that's injured. Quote, "It's sad knowing how hard he worked to get back," unquote, said Chris Paul of the Clippers. Rose's injury occurred in the third quarter against the Trailblazers. He lost his footing while trying to change direction to get back on defense when Nicholas Batum stole a pass from Joakim Noah and started the other way. Rose limped across the court and couldn't put any weight at his knee. After the Blazers scored, he came out of the game during a timeout. It didn't appear there was any contact in the play. Rose was unable to return and was on crutches afterward. Quote, "I feel bad for him," unquote, said Blake Griffin, who tore his meniscus in college at Oklahoma and was playing a few days later. Quote, "The good news is it's not nearly as bad as what he went through before," unquote. Even though the injury isn't as serious as a torn ACL, losing Rose for any chunk of time is obviously a huge blow for a team expecting to challenge LeBron James and the Miami Heat for supremacy in the Eastern Conference with its franchise player back. Quote, "That helps that locker room because they know there's a return date," unquote, said Clippers coach Doc Rivers. The Bulls, the Bulls 6-5, were even eyeing a championship run for the first time since the Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen era. Now there's a big cloud hanging over the franchise, and once again it centers on Rose. The latest injury rekindled memories of the 2012 playoff opener against Philadelphia when he crumpled to the court near the end of the game with a torn ACL in his left knee. That sent the top-seeded Bulls toward a first-round exit and put them in a holding pattern last season while their star recuperated. Many thought he would return at some point, particularly after he started practicing without restrictions. Instead, his recovery took on almost a circus-like feel. Fans saw him shooting and dunking before games last season and wondered why he wasn't playing. Meanwhile, the Bulls fought injuries and illnesses on the way to 45 wins and a first-round playoff victory over Brooklyn before falling to the Miami Heat. Along the way, his image took a hit. Adidas released videos documenting his progress, but Rose mostly stayed in the background, saying little about his recovery. That changed midway through the season. There was also speculation of a rift with the organization after older brother Reggie Rose ripped management for standing pat at the trade deadline, but Derrick Rose denied that. All those issues faded into the background with Rose back this season. He had insisted he was returning better than ever, had no doubts he would regain his MVP form, but he was off to an up-and-down start after a dominant preseason. A sore hamstring caused him to miss a game, and he is shooting just 35%. He was looking better the past 2 games with 19 points in a loss at Denver and 20 against Portland. So, what's going to happen to the Bulls? Looking at how the standings are at the moment, the Bulls, 6-5. I mean, they're not even doing that great with Rose. They're in a 2-game losing streak. You got the Indiana Pacers pretty much dominating the division right now, 11-1 on a 2-game winning streak. The top teams right now, I got to say, the Spurs, the Trailblazers, and the Pacers are one of the top teams. And if you look, the Atlantic Conference just looks awful. I mean, there's no team there, that actually has a winning record. The Raptors are 6-7. The 76ers are 6-8. The Celtics are 4-10. The Knicks are 3-8, and the Nets are 3-9. So, not all good stuff. But best of luck to Chicago Bulls. My brother was a big fan of them back in the day when Michael Jordan was playing. When he was a basketball fan, I'm not sure what he is now, but I feel bad for Rose. I mean, this is just one bad thing after another. And best of luck. I think the Bulls will still be able to make the playoffs, but we'll see what happens. Another news, the top teams that have been most dominant lately with the highest winning streaks, the Spurs and the Trailblazers with 9-game winning streaks, and the worst losing streaks, because I just felt like this was a random thing I could do, and that would be the Milwaukee Bucks, who have lost their last 7. I'm Ryan O'Hara. Enjoy the fight tonight, Manny Pacquiao and Brendan Rios, and remember, check out my sponsor at simplyrugged.com. No HTTP or whatever, just simply www.simplyrugged.com. Have a great night.